Oh, okay, yeah.
Cool, that's me. I'll take that. Haere mai rā, ngā reo ngā mana ngā hauefa. Haere mai, haere mai, haere mai. Haere mai ngā kai ngā hapu iwi take o te whenua nei. Haere mai, haere mai, haere mai ngā rangatira, ngā kaumahi. I runga i te kaupapa nei, haere mai, tautoko mai, haere mai.
Tifa, Tiwa te wate ao, te wate pō. Tēnei te tai o ruhi ka papaki ki te matāhu, ko tū te ihi ka tau te wana. Tihe Māori ora, tihe Māori mate, tihe tohi ora. Te mea tuatahi me wehi ki te atu, te kaihanga, te tīmatanga me te hakamutanga o ngā mea katoa. Huri no kia koutou rā, ngā tangata whenua o tēnei motu, ngā iwi takatake, te Oloni, the Miwok, the coastal Miwok, o tira ki the Tongva, o tira ngā iwi o katoa o te motu, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa. Huri noa kia tātou ngā rangatira, ngā tohunga o ngā pukenga o te ao huri, no reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa.
Sacred respects to the people of the land, the first peoples of Turtle Island and Mountain View, the Oloni people. Saleki ita. Thank you for having us here. This is really exciting and awesome day for us. Kia ora koutou, tēnā koutou.
Tania, kuki.
Ko hai koe. Whakapapa.
We Cookie is my name. It's named after a black dolphin from Tahiti a couple of thousand years ago, so I'm always telling people I'm fast in the water. So our people came from this little place in the centre of Tahiti called Tapu Tapu Atia. I'll get onto that in a second. The photo you see here is of the 7 canoes that were built in 2011, 2012. We sailed about 32,000 miles around the Pacific to bring back our navigation histories. That's Bora Bora in the back. That's the Māori canoes, Tonga, Cook Islands, Samoa, Fiji. Yeah. And our ancestors mapped the oceans back then. There was the ancient street view, if you like. So we always say that the islands are just the top of the mountains. They're higher than Mount Everest, actually.
So it's really no accident that we're here today. My father was born on a tiny island called Rava'u in the Kingdom of Tonga. And as Cookie said, we have, for thousands of years, we've sailed right across the Pacific. It's essentially like a continent that's covered in water. So as he said, we mapped flights, migrations of birds, essentially had street view back in those days, but even better than street view because we also had star view. We knew how to map all of the stars and travel.
So the wakas became the ancient metaphor for street viewing. They went across the horizons to look for new resources, new relationships, new value, new people, new trade.
So that evolution, if you like, or progression from that kind of traditional and ancient knowledge that we've had for many thousands of years into a new and awesome technology like Google Earth Maps and Street View is just incredible. So exciting. So just a little bit about the Kingdom of Tonga. So it's in the middle of the South Pacific next to the Tonga Trench. And there's about 100,000 people there, probably the same number of people employed by Google. We have about 180 islands, 36 of which are inhabited, and 5 island groups. And absolutely critical that when we do this work, that we are supporting the nation and the whole kingdom and their goals and objectives.
And key across the Pacific, because we're all related from Central Polynesia, is this idea of what we call talanoa, and it's respect and reciprocity. There's lots of eating, and there's lots of drinking of kava, and there's lots of gift exchange. It's how we traditionally welcomed each other. So that's the level playing field that we approach the street mapping with.
And absolutely so important that we treat everybody with dignity and with honour and with integrity, and that we don't go in and we're not just taking stuff, but we are giving back at every step of the way. It's a relationship of reciprocity and culture.
The bottom line here is that the Longreach communities and small Indigenous communities, that is their world, the globe. So and sometimes we come in from the outside can be seen as intruders. So we always have to respect that they are the host and that we are the visitor.
And in that photo over there is our friend Stafford Marquardt, who you heard this morning, who came to Tonga, and he has a tupenu on, and we went to a service together. So it's really cool. So yeah, how did we get here? The backstory is we met some people from Google about a year ago, Stafford from Google Street View in New Zealand, and we basically said, you know, what's going on? There's none of the Pacific Islands are in Street View. And we had a bit of a chat, and we agreed that we could Street View the Pacific, starting with the Kingdom of Tonga.
At that time too, I was working with some other technologists on AR and VR doing sacred sites, so I thought we could marry these two together. And sure enough, it's come off as a winner.
So we did a scoping trip, and on that scoping trip in October last year, we actually had a bit of a soft launch. There was quite a bit of publicity, and we spoke to the Prime Minister of Tonga to just ensure that, you know, he had an idea of what we were hoping to do, and he was very happy that we were be doing the project. It aligned with their e-government initiative, and we were supported by the government statistician. So we had a lot of dialogue and work with the people of Tonga even before we went there.
So the challenge to put the 360 on top of the car was we didn't have all the flash gear, so with a little bit of 25mm ply and a little bit of Kiwi ingenuity, I came up with a little saddle there and some straps, and, you know, we got it onto the car.
Some magnets.
Yeah.
And so this was done in 10 days. So we looked at the whole map, made sure that all 78 villages would be part of it, looked at all the streets, talked with the Postmaster General, Mr. Siosifa Pomana, and he suggested that I work with one of their guys, Aisake, because he was familiar with every single road in the island. So it was a really awesome project. Actually ended up with sunstroke, you know, a couple of days. So here's just some examples of some of the Street View. So this is taken straight off Street View. This is our downtown, super busy, high-rise. All 2 levels of our high-rise. Yeah, and the cars. And
so the first 2 cars came there in 1969, and you guessed it, they had a car crash.
Hala Tawha'ahau. 24,000 people live there. Okay, and here's just an example of one of our beautiful beaches that now people can go into Street View. This was King Tawha'ahau's beach, private beach, that now we can share with the world. So it's so amazing that we can do this. So one of the things that it was kind of almost like an unintended consequence of some of the work that we were doing. But when we first were talking about it, we went in with the idea of beautiful island, incredible destination. But the people that were really interested were the ones that were dealing with disaster management and emergency management. And so every year there is cyclone season between about November to April. And this year we had 6 tropical cyclones, and on the 12th and the 13th we had a category 4 to 5 cyclone Gita. And small island, I think the biggest mountain in Tonga is about 100 metres high. That's our mountain, Mount Zion. So, you know, at risk of flooding and everything. And this is a consequence, of course, of climate change, global warming. The cyclone season is cyclical annually, but the climate change and global warming, rising sea levels, acidification, it's intensifying them. So this one was the worst in known history in Tonga. And there's a state of emergency, curfew, but Darcy, our beautiful daughter Darcy, came with me to Tonga a day after, and we street viewed the island again.
Very cheap workforce.
I don't think she'd like that. Like you say that. So it was very challenging. She was the driver, I was the navigator, and you had to dodge through, you know, power lines that were sort of almost falling down. So I'd go, drive fast, Darcy, because, you know, the tree could have fallen on us. And when you see the street view, it's, you know, the power lines are sort of like very close. In fact, sometimes I kind of thought Popo would get his head cut off It was so
Didn't
close
stop
to
the Tongans from hanging their washing on the power lines.
the whole island, the power was turned off, so yeah. So here's the Parliament House before Cyclone Gita. This is a heritage building for Tonga. It was over 120 years old. The site of a lot of legislation. We call it Whale Alea. It survived so many disasters. And this is the Parliament House afterwards. So you can see how powerful it is. And what happened after Cyclone Gita is suddenly everyone from New Zealand Army, Australian Army,
New Zealand Aid,
US,
Pacific Aid.
yeah.
Everybody pours in, but they don't know what it used to look like.
Yeah, they don't necessarily have a before and after.
Now we have the data sets that can help with that.
Yeah. And that was a domestic airport before Cyclone Gita, and that was it after. So that was just the day following. So there was a lot of damage, thousands of houses. And then we went back again last month.
We flew to Vava'u, which is it's beautiful. We call it the Pito o te Whenua, so it's this beautiful place in the middle of Tonga.
It's 40 islands, about 15,000 people live here. And of course, again, it's really important for us to make sure that we talk to the governor of Vava'u, Lord Whakatulolo, and he was really happy, wasn't he?
And all the elders and the mayors of each village, to let them know that we're coming,
Yeah.
so that they can paint the church, or the kids can come out and sing, or they tie up the dog, or let the pigs off, or something, So, so everybody's happy that we're coming.
There's always pigs running around all over the place, and you've got it. They have right of way, so I've got Street View. I'm just kind of waiting for the little piglets to cross the road, and eventually they do. So we took a launch to some of these outer islands, and we had to have mountain bikes. Of course, we had to get a really fit young guy to ride the mountain bike up the hills. And we had got street view of these outer islands.
On a horse, back of a horse.
Using this GoPro Fusion. So that was a very cool little camera. And also underwater as well. And on horseback, as Cookie said. So this is just a little bit of street view from Vava'u, Tapuwelewele Road, Mount Talau. Beautiful little first time ever that Tonga was put in street view.
There's Richie in the back of the
car. There's Nana walking around with their mokopuna.
Mokopuna's grandchild.
And the wheelbarrow. Yeah, they're pretty innovative.
So we call it street view, but it's actually sometimes goat track or cycleway or footpath.
And one of the reasons I really wanted to do this was to actually, just go back and see where Dad was born. His place in Veitatalo, many, many years ago in the 30s. And just being able to go as a person from Tonga that doesn't live in Tonga at the moment, to go back and see that was really important for our family. And here's another shot of some of the kids in Vava'u running.
They can hear the drone. They're looking up, but they're just trying to find it.
Yeah, and I had the street view car, and they just wouldn't move. They just kind of go like that. Sort of have to, wait till they all moved off the road. They're pretty happy to see us. So going back to the disaster management, this is right across the Pacific, actually. The resilience of the Pacific nations and Pacific Tonga. We actually lost an island in 2014, Monuafe, to sea level rising. But interestingly, we gave birth to another island called Hongatonga, the volcanic island, about 6 months later. So, it's kind of really interesting how we can see what's going on in Hawaii right now on the big island. So the earth moves and shifts and changes all the time.
But a big unintended outcome, of course, of dealing with emergency management was suddenly we had all these other people that want access to the data sets so that they can plan for emergencies.
So one thing that we do in every village, they've got tsunami evacuation warnings because we've had a few tsunamis. In fact, a few years back we had a big one on the Northern Island group and the Neuers and lost many people. And that one, and also in Samoa, that was very bad tsunami, and it was originated an earthquake out in the trench. So we have evacuation pathways. So the cool thing about Street View now is that people can actually see the evacuation pathways, using their phone and different devices. We could even drone them.
We can employ AR and VR to actually do training packages as well.
Yeah, so that's kind of very important. So when we did a presentation last month at the regional workshop with all the directors of emergency management from right across the Pacific, there was a lot of interest. Cook Islands director wants us to go over there and do the Cook Islands. Again, it's all about early warning systems. And then one gentleman said, "Oh, can you please come and do my country?" And I said to him, "Can you tell me what country you're from, please?" And he said, "Papua New Guinea and Bougainville." He goes, "But I really hope you come, because even though Bougainville's a war-torn country, I'm sure we can do something." So I'm trying to figure out, what kind of vehicle you'd use there. So...
Yeah, so what this capability of these cameras give us is that we can individualise each power pole and what's on top of them, so that the aid from New Zealand and Australia that comes, they can bring the exact right gear for the exact right moment, cut down time, bring the power back on, which of course helps the hospitals, all the key assets.
Runways, maintenance, ports and wharves. There's always a lot of damage, especially with earthquakes, runways and
the insurance companies are really interested in this stuff, because they can say, "Oh, you had a 4-story building or a 2-story?"
It didn't have a before and after.
Everyone's got swimming pools now.
So definitely contributes to much better outcomes, because suddenly you have this very small island in the middle of the Pacific who has global reach. And since we've put up only a small percentage of Street View, there's been already over 1.2 million views. So it's, somebody's looking at Tonga, which is pretty cool. So there's the competitive advantages. But really, one thing we're particularly interested in is augmented and virtual reality. So we see this as a layer. So Street View is like a baseline layer of data and imagery that we can share.
Yeah, so come to Tonga first without actually having...
Yeah, and engaging villages and the little island groups to create virtual reality experiences for people that you can share around the world. And
sacred sites, so they can go back and enact ceremonies that happened. We can dress them up, photograph them, put them in a green room, drop them back in cyberspace, so we can create that history for them as well.
Yeah, I mean, it is the geography class of the future. The field trips will not necessarily be catch a bus, catch a train, catch a plane. It will be put on your whatever you're going to put on, goggles or glasses or something, and that will be it. Go to Tonga, swim on the reefs. So this is another religion is very important to the people of Tonga. This is with the oldest college in the Pacific. This is just an example of some of the imagery, and we've street viewed all of this school, again with permission from the principals and minister, and absolute incredible VR experience of these 1,000 young men singing in church.
So Queen Salute back in the 50s ensured that literacy and numeracy would be big on her agenda. So much so that Tonga's got the highest PhDs of any country in the world.
Highest number of PhDs per capita in any country in the world, absolutely.
Yeah,
and 99% literacy. So we went from, like not having a written language or an oral tradition to being like almost fully literate and numerate. So the idea of the technology and having young people to create it is, they're super excited in education. So Vava'u and Ewa is one of the few places in the world where you can actually swim with whales. So that will be, again, another immersive experience that we can add on to, here's Street View, here's how you get there, and then open up the world to swimming with the whales. So because those islands, again, are so vulnerable, we only have very limited infrastructure for real tourists. So we can have some real tourists, and we do want, great tourism, but we can certainly open up the entire country to the rest of the world through virtual tourism. Tongan whales, of course. So this is what we say: come here, come to Tonga before you get here, and experience it. And that's just another one of Dawn over Little Italy, where we all stayed. So our next steps, there's a few more steps. We kind of layer it. It's because there's certain times that work and certain times that don't, and it's not necessarily useful to go in and just go, I want to do this, it's the whole month, especially when you're working with partners in country. You have to be respectful of what works for them. So therefore we're working and layering it, doing different island groups, something with the King's birthday, different islands, Ewa, Ongonua, VR experience.
We might VR the King's Palace as a gift to him.
Yeah, and then on in November, we've got 200,000 Tongans living overseas, outside of Tonga, and we're going to have a global launch of the whole of the Kingdom of Tonga in Street View, and invite the King to, push the button of that. So that will be when the entire country is in. So it's going to be pretty cool. Have a global party for an instantaneous launch. So what is our goal for 2020? Street View all of the Pacific countries, with the support and help of partners and associates, and work with them. Obviously, the idea is we can help to do a baseline, a first cut, but work with the country so that they can continue, because they're the ones that will know when is the best time, is there a disaster, pre, post, some great celebrations.
Working with our biggest partner, I learned this term, it's called Papa Google.
Yeah, so that's going to be pretty exciting and pretty busy as well. Lots of considerations. Distance to outer islands is quite remote, very remote actually. A lot of time taken. Needed to get our son to make us a couple of computers, some firmware things that we had to work out.
We haven't included the cost in here, but it's quite costly to do this.
It's very costly.
We love what we're doing, so we're just hoping that other partners will come on board, basically.
Yeah. Post-disaster, there was no power, no water, no fresh food, and always health issues, sprained ankles, sprained knees, food poisoning, coral cuts I got last time. Cookie got infected mosquito bites, you name it. There's a lot of stuff you have to prepare for. So it'd be great to have some support for our initiative for the Pacific. There's our son Vinny, another low-cost labour, Master of Mathematics, so we're doing pretty good for low-cost labour, doing his Master of Mathematics, and helped to build some computers and Ubuntu programming, lots of networks, expertise. So for us as a people of the Pacific, as Kaumoana, even if you're on a really small island with 10 people or 100 people or 200 people, for us, every single island, every village, every person counts.
So these are the crews from the 7 canoes that we saw at the start. So Tongan, Samoan, Māori, Fijian, all across. We're holding hands in prayer there because in the Pacific consciousness, our Garden of Eden was Tapu Tapu Atea. Those were the canoes left to go across the horizon to make new relationships. So we see this as our new beginning to bring the islands back out to the world again.
And a new relationship. So, whakawetai, our sincere gratitude to the PM Akalisi Pohiva, Dr. Viliami Fifita, Siosifa Pomana, Emeline Tuita, Aisake Onga, Aonofo, who's the real Moana. Many of you might have seen the Moana movie. Our great friend Captain Aonofo actually has circumnavigated the globe twice on a traditional canoe.
She's the captain of the Tongan canoe.
Yeah, so we've had help from so many people, Leah, Solo, Sione, Vinny, Darcy, and a whole Mana VR team, and for Google themselves for creating an incredible platform. Koe mea whakawha maoni. That's a really beautiful gift to the world that we can share our knowledge and people and islands with.
So thank you for having us.
My dad, Devita.
Yeah.
And my grandma, Beau.